Hey Squishies, this is Gravity Falls Season 2, Episode 2, Into the Bunker. So last time I talked about how it was kind of a new structure where the previous episode was kind of a new structure. They had the Mabel teenager story and the Dipper hunting monsters story kind of intertwined more than usual, where usually they just have an episode that's one or the other. And I liked that and was hoping for more of that going forward. Although in hindsight it occurs to me that that's kind of the episode where Gideon has a crush on Mabel-ish. Regardless, this episode did not do that. It was a straight-up Dipper story, and it was a Dipper has a crush on Wendy story, which, as I've said before, I don't care for. But good news, they're done, apparently. He told Wendy how he feels. She responded appropriately. They're staying friends. They're going to hang out and do mystery stuff together, and hopefully that whole terrible thread is behind us. Because, yeah, that was really boring. Just zero patience for dudes pining over girls. And I know that I made that pun last time, but that's what it's called. So, this episode did do some interesting things with it along the way, I have to admit. I liked Mabel locking them in the closet. That was sort of a microcosm of the teenage shenanigans meet monster stuff. Because that was essentially the game 7 Minutes in Heaven, which I'm going to go ahead and assume kids still played it today, so I don't have to explain it. And then it turned into them being attacked by the shape-shifting monster. That was fun. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure kids ever played 7 Minutes in Heaven that much. It's kind of a TV thing. I did it once. But the girl they locked me in the closet with was not the girl I wanted to maybe do stuff with. It was her little sister, which was awkward and weird, and nothing happened. So, just kind of stood around for a while waiting out the time because that's just weird. I was like, I don't know, 15, 16. Other than that, I don't think it's ever a thing that kids really did. I think it's something TV made up. And maybe some kids did it once, copying the TV. But regardless, that seems pretty clearly what they were referencing. But this being Gravity Falls, 7 Minutes of Heaven occur in a weird hidden room in a bunker and leads them into a system of caverns where they find horrible shape-shifting monster. I was actually surprised the way they went with the monster, because after Dipper, confessed, and then they did the standard, which one's the real Wendy, I was expecting a different outcome, which in hindsight I think is because of something Star Trek did with a shape-shifting monster. I can't remember the title of the episode, but this episode Deep Space Nine, where a character is trapped in a system of caves with the woman he has feelings for and a shape-shifting monster. And the woman is injured and trapped and dying, and he has no way of getting her out. He tries all sorts of different things, and they all fail. And finally, when she's about to die, he confesses how he feels, and she says that she loves him too. And he immediately realizes that she's the shapeshifter and the real woman is somewhere else. And she's faking dying in an attempt to trap him. So what I thought was going to happen was that Wendy, when Dipper asked for a sign, Wendy was going to give some indication that she reciprocates his feelings, and he, having known all along that it's impossible, because as Wendy pointed out at the end of the episode, she's way too old for him, would realize that that's not really her. And in a way that sort of happened, because, that smile and wink she gave him could be a little bit interpreted that way. But then the other Wendy did the lips sealed motion, which she'd done earlier in the episode, and he recognized that. So I think that was the real giveaway. Which, to be fair, it's a little cruel on the part of the writers to pull the, I knew it wasn't the real her because she said she loved me, But I like that they're moving on from this. I hope they really do move on from it. I hope this doesn't turn into, she knows I had feelings for her, but I will pretend, we'll both pretend I don't and continue to be friends even though I still do, as opposed to, no, this is settled and done and we're moving on as friends, which I've done both. One of them was with actually a couple of my past, longer term relationships have, ended and turned into just being friends. And it was fine. Then, though, there's also been a couple of times where I had feelings for someone, when I was younger. I had, when I was a teenager and still got crushes, where I, had a crush on someone and told them and they weren't interested, and it was well, let's just still be friends, but I didn't really want to still be friends, but blah, 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 blah. The standard bullshit that teenage boys pull, and unfortunately sometimes continue pulling after they're teenagers. Whatever. Hopefully, though, they'll go the route that's not only, more mature on Dipper's part, but more entertaining. Because, oh, I have a crush and it makes me so awkward is so boring. And I'm so glad we're finally, hopefully, rid of it. Hopefully, from here out, they can just be friends who hang out, which means we can have episodes where Wendy is awesome without having to have episodes where Dipper is obnoxious and annoying and awkward. Fingers crossed. I loved the monster. It did some really freaky stuff. Very, very Cronenberg kind of stuff. Especially the parts where it sprouts lots of legs, the head turning upside down, the part where it's fused Mabel Dipper creature with screaming mouths and legs. That's some pretty freaky stuff for a kids show. But good. Kids shows should have freaky stuff. I don't remember exactly how Phil Sandifer puts it, but he makes a point where, I think when he's talking about the old BBC show Stones of Blood, and I know he makes it a couple of times when we'll talk about Doctor Who, a good kids show should be memorably frightening for the kids. Not, wet their pants in terror and have nightmares for a month, but frightening enough and weird enough that it sticks with them, because those are the things that, stick with us. Those are the things that we remember and that, help shape our psyches and help warp us into, because obviously the goal with kids is to make them sufficiently warped that they force the whole world to change around them into something that hopefully will suck less. For more unsolicited parenting advice from someone who has never had kids and will never have kids, no, I'm kidding, about the more parenting advice, I'm not kidding about the rest of it. But yeah, this was another solid episode that changed up the status quo significantly and hopefully means things will be different moving forward. Also interesting that something very bad apparently happened to the authors of the journal, at least if the shapeshifter can be trusted, which it can't. Pretty freaky on its part to, transform into Dibs screaming just as it freezes. That's pretty cruel. I liked Seuss's line about, good luck sleeping. In fact, I didn't mention this while talking about the last episode, but Seuss has been on fire the last 2 episodes. He was great in the zombie episode. The fact that, he was still irrepressibly Seuss even while zombified, going after them, wanting to eat their brains, while at the same time being Seuss and saying zombie things in a Seuss way. It was really very well done. In fact, I almost feel like, at least these last 2 episodes, Mabel was pretty funny this episode. I was going to say, in the zombie episode, Seuss is basically where the comedy comes from, which is unusual. It's usually Mabel. In this episode, no, Mabel definitely had some good bits. The raw sugar packets gag in particular was a lot of fun. But I'm hoping we get a little more Mabel wackiness. I like the integrated thing I was talking about in the previous episode. I want to see more of that, but maybe next time it'll be 70% Mabel, 30% Dipper, where this first episode of the season was kind of the other way around. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Anyway, yeah, good show, enjoying it. Unfortunately, going to be a little while before I get to watch any more, but because I think most of next month is going to be taken up by the Stephen Bomb that's about to start. But we'll see. Anyway, see you all next time. Bye.